Hello and welcome to the Hudson Valley. Today we're going to be taking a hike just along the North Ridge along Anthony's Nose, and then we're going to retreat back while we take glances at the Hudson River. We'll cross the Bear Mountain Bridge and ultimately end up at the foot of Bear Mountain itself. Our hike today is about 11 miles long, and it has a little of everything for anyone. We start off here at Route 9D at the trailhead for the Appalachian Trail, and we head north, ending at the turnaround about 500 feet above the Appalachian Deli. And then we'll turn around back to 9D in the trailhead. Then we'll make our way across the Hudson River, around Hessian Lake, and again ending up at the foot of the Bear Mountain pathway. As for elevation, we get some sharp rises and then we get some level plateaus. You'll see there are areas between mile 8 and 9 and between 10 and 11 where we drop down. That's actually just an artifact. That's when we're crossing the Bear Mountain Bridge. So we actually remain level at about 200 feet. Here we are at the very beginning of the trail. As I make my way up the trail, I'm really pretty excited. I just learned a family member would be receiving on the following day the first dose of the coronavirus vaccine. So, yeah, I'm pretty lively foot as I go up. As I climb up, I encountered an individual who I had no idea who it was, but I just turned around and said, "Hey, you're the first one I'm going to tell. My family member is going to be getting the coronavirus vaccine tomorrow," and he was ecstatic. And what I think is really quite extraordinary is that a year ago, no one knew what this was about. It simply hadn't been publicized. The word COVID didn't exist. We weren't wearing masks. And less than a year later, I'm able to turn to a stranger and share glee about a family member getting the vaccine. So, yeah, it was a very good day. So here we're climbing up, and we get a nice view of the Hudson River here. The Hudson River Valley is one of the most beautiful areas you might find. You don't hear too much about it, and you don't see much about it when people document their through hikes along the Appalachian Trail, but it is truly a beautiful area that anyone might want to visit. So we make our climb up. Again, it's a hike that's got pretty much everything for whoever wants to enjoy it. We've got rocky areas, we've got steep areas, we've got level areas. We've got great views of the river, and for those so inclined, we even have pavement on this particular hike as we walk along 9D and cross over the Bear Mountain Bridge. This first climb is pretty sizable, I guess, by Eastern standards, going up around 600 feet in about 0.7 of a mile. So it's not the hugest hill, but it is certainly steep. We then come up at the end of this hike, end of the hill, up to, which really is you might call it a hiker's boulevard, probably an old road that's no longer in use. And we descend along that, and it's really just very pleasant. This was an absolutely beautiful day. The wind was a little strong, and it was pretty cool. So now we're at a ridge, and this is just a fantastic area. It's beautiful. It is fairly sparse with the trees, and there are a number of trees, but there's a lot of space in between them, giving a lot of good light. And on a day like this, it's really just magical. The terrain is really quite easy for the Appalachian Trail. Very few rocks. It's very soft. There really isn't much up and down. So it is a great place for a person who wants to start out trail running. I'm not at my trail running weight yet, but when I do get down to the trail running weight, I will certainly be coming out to this area as I start running again, because it is relatively easy. It's absolutely enjoyable. It is beautiful. It's easy on the knees. That's my main problem, knee injuries. And it's a good long stretch. The part of the Appalachian Trail along this area is about 2 miles long, but as you move north, you will hit a blue trail that continues north, and that will go on for some bit. I have to explore that a little bit later. So it's kind of got these wide open, almost grassy areas. It's just a really magnificent little ridge, and I think anyone would enjoy it. And on this particular hike, I followed the path north until I got to the point where the Appalachian Trail dives down and will ultimately go down to the Appalachian Deli. I didn't take that downhill, so I turned around and headed for the other end. And at the other end, we have another descent as well. This one's not quite as tall, only about 300 feet. But again, it is steep at about 0.3 miles of distance. And so we bounce along this little descent until ultimately we come upon a dirt road. And that dirt road has good parking for it. So if you want to explore this particular ridge for beginning trail running and that, you can always park along here, or you could park behind the Appalachian Deli. And so there we are on the dirt road. We're just going to walk along, and after that cone, we're going to turn left and get back onto that Hiker's Boulevard, as I called it before, which I assume was an old road that's no longer in use. And then we follow that and get some nice little sharp descents and sharp ascents. None of them are terribly long, but they certainly can be a challenge if you are of a weight similar to mine. So here we are climbing up one of these, again, short, not very tall, but steep little climbs. We begin to get a hint of the Hudson River there in the background. And that is really one of the joys of this particular hike, is just getting glimpses of the river as you rise above certain points. And then you see the Hudson River peak itself out. And as you continue south along this towards 9D, where we started our hike, the river becomes your constant companion. So as I said, it does have a little of something for everyone. Sharp climbs, flat areas, rocky areas, flat areas. It's a really quite nice hike to go along if you want diversity. And you get some great views, such as this little valley that you emerge out of headed southbound. Now we just meandered northward. This particular day we had the sun just going down, providing really nice light. It again was a cool day with a sharp wind and making it feel a little cooler than it actually was, just above freezing. And it was one of those great moments where we just come up a little rise and we see the Hudson River there greeting us. And now about 1 mile, mile and a half back to Route 9D, where we started our hike, our river becomes just a nice constant companion along the right-hand side, and it's a little difficult to keep your eyes off of it, but you've got to because of the rocks and roots and all things that are there designed to trip you up. And there in the distance we see the mountains of the west side of the Hudson River. Now we're come back to our sharp descent. And again, this is a fairly steep descent. If you've got knees like me, you got to take it a little bit gingerly. And weight like me, you've got to take it gingerly. And here we are back to where we started along Route 9. Traffic being a very unpleasant thing to welcome us back to our starting point. And indeed, we're going to be harassed a little bit by that traffic as we make our way south along Route 9D and then go across the Bear Mountain Bridge. The Bear Mountain Bridge does have traffic, which is quite annoying. It also provides us with some absolutely spectacular views of the Hudson Valley, which, again, I just have to reiterate is a place of really magnificent beauty and I think understated or underestimated beauty. There is Anthony's nose, and this is what we see on camera now is that ridge that we walked along. And then the mighty Hudson River looking north. Now we gaze westward. We see the little inlet in the bridge and continue west to the park. And here we are at Bear Mountain State Park. We've gone under a tunnel, we've climbed up some stairs, and what is there to meet us is Hessian Lake. And this is a cute little lake. There are paddle boats that people can rent, paddle along. There's no swimming. But it's a nice place, and the Bear Mountain State Park is an extremely busy place during normal times and welcoming temperatures. Here I only saw about 2 people on this particular day when the temperatures were hovering around freezing. And of course with this damn-demic, our ability to go out and be where other people are is extremely limited. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little trip through the Hudson Valley, and hope you will come out and visit us. Thank you. Bye-bye.